Chapter 76, What am I pursuing? Yes, I can hardly protect myself, yet I'm still thinking about others. I saw that Li Wei hadn't eaten for 2 days, so I bought porridge for him. However, he used it against me. I even exerted physical effort to perform cardiac resuscitation for him, and what did I get in return? A reprimand, the loss of 3 years of benefits, a public apology, bending down in humiliation in front of everyone. Then, I have to leave the inpatient department and be transferred to the outpatient department to work as a nurse in the infusion hall? For Jiang Tai's child, no one could control him. The infusion hall turned into a marketplace, and it was me who calmed down Jiang Tai's child. But did the director reward me? I saw the situation of the pregnant woman, fought for her rights, but in the end, what did I get? I got nothing. I designed the surgical and treatment plans for Zhang Jun, and after the successful operation, I was replaced. Everything was credited to the director. What did I get? What am I pursuing? Just like my silent dedication for 4 years, ultimately proving to be naive sacrifices under my wife's deception. Everything I've done in these 4 years is just making it more convenient for my wife to cheat, or perhaps covering up for her infidelity. What did I get? What am I pursuing? Fang Hao's heart turned ice cold, feeling that life had lost its meaning. I'm too foolish. I don't know how to fight for my own interests, so I end up in such a miserable state. In the future, I have to be more shrewd. Fang Hao took a deep breath and said to Lu Jing, "Thank you, director. If you hadn't told me these words, I might have walked the wrong path for my whole life, not knowing why I was so aimless." Don't mention it. Your mentor is a good academic mentor for you, but he himself is not a qualified social elite. So, his academic and social achievements don't match. Don't learn from him. Lu Jing smiled, knowing that Fang Hao could withstand a lot, so she felt reassured. Fang Hao said, "Oh, Master, he's still a winner in life, right? Master. Master lives in a luxury house and has very successful children." Yes. Old Su is fortunate. As I said to you, a person with strength will not end up too badly. Success is only a matter of time. Oh, I need to go to the outpatient department. Will you stay here to study or come with me? I'll stay here to study. Alright. Lu Jing didn't say much and went to the outpatient department. Recently, she had been a bit delayed in her clinic work due to her husband's health issues. Now, it was the hospital's assessment period, and she needed to achieve some results. Fang Hao logged into QQ and found that the intermediary for the ghostwritten paper was contacting him. They mentioned that the sponsor wanted to talk to him about academic matters related to the paper. He created a new account and chatted with the intermediary, expressing his unwillingness to meet the sponsor in person. Instead, he asked the intermediary to list the questions, and he would answer them accordingly. On the new account, the intermediary complained in a teasing manner that Fang Hao's paper was of too high quality. The leaders on the sponsor's side were very satisfied, and they specifically praised the sponsor. Since the sponsor was afraid of being asked professional questions, they sought Fang Hao's detailed discussion. Too high quality? For this garbage ghostwritten paper? Damn it, what kind of people are on the sponsor's side? Are they all without academic knowledge? Fang Hao silently cursed, instructing the intermediary to list the questions. A private meeting? He'd rather not. He needed to protect himself. After work, Fang Hao visited his mentor's office, discussing professional matters and paper publications. Later, he went to pick up his child. "Honey, you're here." Fang Hao noticed his wife coming out of the kindergarten, holding Tian Tian and Jia Jia. "You finished work so early?" Fang Hao asked. "I just arrived." His wife felt a bit proud inside. The private investigator had informed her that Fang Hao was heading home from work, so she left the office earlier, reached home first, and waited at the kindergarten to surprise him. They went home together, and Fang Hao busied himself in the kitchen. His wife said she needed to take out the trash and took the opportunity to grab her husband's car keys. Downstairs, the private investigator was already waiting. After receiving the keys, he quickly installed tracking and listening devices on Fang Hao's car. His wife's phone had a receiving terminal, giving her a sense of control over her husband's actions. Regarding installing trackers in Fang Hao's briefcase or phone, she decided against it. Fang Hao, being an investigator, would likely be knowledgeable about tracking devices. If he discovered them, it might backfire. Tonight, Fang Hao's in-laws didn't come over, leaving just the family of 4. After dinner, Fang Hao was busy in the study, and his wife, after freshening up, came over, hugging him from behind, initiating intimacy. Fang Hao couldn't resist and quickly complied. Afterward, his wife seemed satisfied. She relaxed and said, "Honey, my parents suggested that we move into their villa. What do you think?" Fang Hao replied, "I still prefer our little nest. I don't want to move for now. Here, besides our little one, it's just the two of us. Isn't that perfect?" "Yeah, I think the same way. I'll tell my parents we're not moving." His wife also supported Fang Hao's viewpoint. The child outside started clamoring, and she went out. "Ah, Suro, if you didn't cheat, that would be so much better." Fang Hao felt a bit numb. His wife was very beautiful, enchanting, delicate, providing him great satisfaction. If not for his wife's infidelity, he could have experienced emotional fulfillment when his wife reached climax. However, his wife's affair tainted everything. "Wait a minute, I rejected my in-laws' good intentions. Will they notice something?" Fang Hao suddenly remembered something and slapped his forehead. "Almost got carried away. That villa is where my wife grew up, or at least it's the place she lived after becoming sensible. It might even be the place where she met her lover." The naive wife, encountering a lover who came as a guest, was then captivated by his mature, successful, and charming demeanor. As the young girl matured, the affair blossomed when the opportunity arose. Later on, they frequently met, and the mature lover's skills made the young wife irresistibly drawn to him. She eventually succumbed. I wonder why the lover and my wife can't go public. Perhaps this relationship is doomed to have no good ending, destined to exist only in the underground world. As the wife grew older, or maybe after finishing university and reaching the age of marriage, her physiological maturity could lead to pregnancy any time. Staying together, they would undoubtedly reveal their relationship. That's when I, the fool backup, appeared, and the story continued with our marriage. At the wedding, my wife and her lover celebrated their union in the bridal chamber. And me, this cuckold, was just used to conceal their ugly behavior. I've been blinded. Infuriating. Chapter 77, A Wolf in Sheep's Clothing. Fang Hao calmed his emotions and went out. He found his wife in the bedroom by the window and went over to embrace her from behind. His wife naturally leaned back against Fang Hao's chest. She first told the person on the other end of the call that she was hanging up, then ended the call and turned to look at Fang Hao, asking, "Honey, what's wrong? Are you thinking again? With whom are you chatting? You can't let me know? It's not your admirer, is it?" Fang Hao said, embracing his wife's soft body. He was indeed tempted for a round two. "I don't have any admirers." "Really? My wife is so beautiful, how can there be no admirers?" "Honey, I do, but I've never paid attention to them. I only love you." "Oh, really? Then I'm so fortunate. But, wife, I'm not worthy of you. If you find someone better, someone who loves you and whom you love back, I'll let go. Just tell me in advance, don't cuckold me without warning." "Honey, I really don't have anyone else. I only love you. I believe you." "Oh, I almost forgot how conceited I was just now. My parents suggested we move in, so let's not refuse their goodwill. What would they think of us otherwise? We can stay here as well. As Tian Tian and Jia Jia grow up, they need a better living space." "Did you tell your parents we're not going?" "I didn't tell them." "Honey, why did you change your mind?" "I told you, you were so good just now that I thought it was just the two of us in the world. But we want more children, and we have to think about them. So, let's go. Later, tell your parents we agree to move. If they really want us to, I'll take a day off tomorrow, go there, and start packing. I'll go tuck the kids in now, and then we can have our own time." "Honey." His wife, smart as she was, couldn't figure out why Fang Hao changed his mind. She thought about it and decided to call her parents, agreeing to move. Fang Hao put the kids to sleep and saw his wife in the bathroom taking a shower. He joined her. This time, the battle erupted directly in the bathroom and eventually spread to the bed, lasting for over an hour. Perhaps it was because of Fang Hao's second wind, or maybe it was due to his preserved strength from working in the hospital, or he felt reluctant to part with the body of the most beautiful woman in Jiangdong. Maybe it was because he hadn't indulged himself much in the past 4 years. Whatever the reason, this time, he gave an extraordinary performance, allowing his wife to reach the pinnacle 4 times. Afterward, his wife clung to him like an octopus, immensely in love with her wonderful husband. Fang Hao was exhausted and fell into a deep sleep. The next day, Fang Hao submitted the paper to his mentor and requested leave from Lu Jing. Then he went to his in-laws' home. His father-in-law had gone to the university, but his mother-in-law was still at home. "Mom, your complexion doesn't look good again. I also took a day off today and will take you for a checkup. You are a doctor, you can check me. I can only take your pulse now, but I can't see the situation around your coronary arteries. We need to take an X-ray. Mom, I feel you haven't been completely honest with me, your medical history seems quite long." Fang Hao voiced his suspicions. He had reviewed materials on angina pectoris and felt that his mother-in-law's condition might be more serious. His mother-in-law might have heart disease. There is a difference between heart disease and angina pectoris. I'm fine. Don't scare me. What are you thinking? Your medical history is a bit long, Fang Hao's mother-in-law retorted, letting Fang Hao perform acupuncture on her. After the acupuncture, she visibly relaxed, and Fang Hao proceeded to diagnose her and prescribe a traditional Chinese medicine formula. Then, she watched Fang Hao busy himself, cleaning up 2 rooms. In fact, everything was already there. Later, his wife returned, bringing new quilts and helped tidy up. As lunchtime approached, Fang Hao remembered and decided to call Rui Li, inviting her and her husband for a meal. His wife seemed a bit puzzled. Fang Hao explained, "You always leave the kids at the neighbor's place, which is quite troublesome for them. It's only fair to treat them to a meal." His wife nodded, saying, "I'll follow whatever you say." She suddenly thought of something, feeling a bit guilty. Fang Hao and Rui Li were familiar, and she wondered if Rui Li would mention the frequent times she had sent the kids over before. The more she thought about it, the more she felt that Fang Hao probably knew. This was an oversight. Hopefully, Rui Li wouldn't say anything. At noon, at the restaurant, Fang Hao saw Rui Li coming alone and asked, "Is Lao Dong still not back?" "He's still attending a study exchange and will be back in 3 days." Seeing Su Ro standing next to Fang Hao, holding his hand intimately, Rui Li felt a mix of envy and jealousy. Su Ro was very beautiful, and Fang Hao was quite handsome. They were indeed a well-matched couple. Then let's wait until Lao Dong is back to get together. Fang Hao didn't think much of it and started ordering dishes. After lunch, his wife went to work, and Fang Hao went back to the neighborhood with Rui Li. He tidied up a bit more. In the afternoon, he visited all parts of the villa, especially the places where his wife had lived before and the things she had used. Even after she got married, her room had been preserved, and you could still see traces of her youth. Despite her attempts to tidy things up, they were all stored in the storage room. This was the advantage of having a large house. He focused on the information related to the elephant's trunk. Unfortunately, he didn't find anything useful. "Su Ro, are you really so clever that you destroyed everything?" Fang Hao felt a bit lost. In the evening, the 6 of them enjoyed a harmonious family dinner. Late at night, they all went to their respective rooms. The old man said to his wife, having them come to live here was suggested, and they came. "Everything seems fine." "Good is the best," replied his wife. She happened to glance at the faint mark on her husband's neck and noticed a light perfume scent on the collar of his shirt. Young girls are indeed good. His mother-in-law felt a bit hurt and pounded her chest twice, managing to endure it. Old Su was considered a successful person, having dyed his hair and not looking like someone about to turn 60. He could still captivate young girls. Old Su hadn't produced any academic achievements in recent years, but he seemed to be doing well in the realm of love. Humph. A wolf in sheep's clothing. Oh well, I can't control it anymore. The mother-in-law went to the bathroom door. When the old man said he would go downstairs to read and then sleep downstairs, she went down. Suddenly, she heard some noise on the balcony on the 2nd floor. She went to take a look and saw, in the dim light, 2 people embracing each other, Fang Hao and her daughter. Young people. She didn't know why but kept watching in the shadows. Maybe she wanted to see if 2 people who often quarreled wouldn't be harmonious in this aspect. Unfortunately, in reality, those 2 were quite harmonious. Chapter 78, Daring Not to Add a Stroke to the Axe. The next day, Fang Hao dropped the kids off at the kindergarten. Since the transfer procedures hadn't been completed, the children continued attending their original kindergarten. Fang Hao then went to the hospital, clocked in, and soon got summoned to a consultation led by Vice President Zhou Long. Zhou Long, of average age and build, had a square face with a thick beard. Despite shaving every day, traces of stubble were still visible. This person was the one who wanted to transfer me to the dental department. I don't remember offending him. Oh, and I haven't offended Dr. Luo either. When Fang Hao saw Zhou Long, he felt a bit uneasy and asked, Vice President Zhou, is there something you need from me? Oh, Dr. Xiao Feng, you're here. I have a case for you to consult on. Zhou Long handed him a medical record. Without looking at it, Fang Hao said, Vice President Zhou, I don't have that kind of expertise. You're the expert here, much more knowledgeable than I am. I dare not add a stroke to the axe. Zhou Long replied, Don't be polite, Dr. Xiao Feng. Your abilities are well known in our hospital. You resolved Jiang Tai's son's issue, discovered the cause of the stillbirth in pregnant women, and even performed surgery on Dr. Lu Jing's husband. Your proposed solutions, why be modest now? Are you looking down on yourself? Your capabilities are evident to everyone here in the hospital. His tone became somewhat serious, carrying an air of authority. Fang Hao became nervous and said, Vice President Zhou, you're overestimating me. Jiang Tai's son, that was a coincidence. I have 2 kids around the same age, so I could relate. As for the stillbirth and Dr. Lu's husband, credit goes to my mentor. I don't have that ability. Don't be modest. Take a look at this. Fang Hao had no choice but to look at the medical record. It was a case of myasthenia gravis, and judging by the patient's age of 23 and the accompanying photos from the physical examination, it was clearly the child of the farmer couple. He felt a moment of tension. Now, he truly appreciated the warning from Dr. Lu Jing. Zhou Long was indeed trying to create trouble. If it weren't for Dr. Lu Jing's advice, he might have boldly proposed his ambitious plan by now, hoping to gain the leader's recognition. However, the reality was that the leadership of the Provincial People's Hospital didn't like him. Even if they used his plan, they wouldn't reward him. The benefits would all go to the leaders, and the responsibilities would be his. Having suffered a loss before, he couldn't afford to be careless now. He said, Vice President Zhou, this is myasthenia gravis. Currently, there is no specific treatment method. It has been classified as a rare disease and listed in the National Rare Disease Directory. I'm truly powerless. You know traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture, right? Can't you use them for this? I don't have expertise in this area. Then, this case is for you to research. No, Vice President Zhou, you're overestimating me. Oh, I can consult with my mentor and Dr. Lu Jing to see if they are interested in this case. Fang Hao put down the medical record and left. You've got to be kidding me. Saying you'll hand it over to me, and I'll just take it? Do you really think I'm a fool? This rare disease, you can handle it slowly. In the elevator, Fang Hao told his mentor about the situation. His mentor was anxious and advised him not to act on his own. Fang Hao quickly assured him that he hadn't accepted the case. He returned to the outpatient department and discussed the situation with Lu Jing. Lu Jing said, Fang Hao, you did the right thing this time. You can't handle this type of illness. This is Zhou Long's case, so let him be responsible for it. Besides, you don't have your own department now. How can you conduct research and treatment? This is Zhou Long expressing dissatisfaction with you. He blames you for finding such a case, thinking you're causing trouble. Director, thank you for your reminder last time. Otherwise, I might have acted recklessly this time. Oh, do you really have the intention to take it on? Are you confident? Confident, not exactly. I can consult my mentor and Dr. Lu Jing to see if they are interested in this case. Fang Hao hung up the phone and walked back to the outpatient department. On the way to the cafeteria for lunch, he encountered the farmer couple again. Judging by their expressions, they seemed even more worried than yesterday. This time, both of them came to buy food, but their son with myasthenia gravis didn't join them. This family was in a difficult situation. Fang Hao knew the situation of myasthenia gravis, and there was currently no specific treatment. Anyone who got this disease was almost hopeless. In rural areas, losing a labor force and having a family member bedridden would lead to bankruptcy. Fang Hao greeted them, engaged in conversation, and proactively bought them meals, refusing to take their money. The least he could do was offer this small gesture of help. At noon, he spent 2 hours in his mentor's office, helping him process some data. He noticed that his mentor seemed a bit despondent, as if he had lost his research direction. Before, his mentor had been researching the liver due to Zhang Jun's condition. Now, with Zhang Jun's surgery completed and treatment following Fang Hao's plan showing improvement, the mentor's research had reached a standstill. Although a complete recovery wasn't guaranteed, the situation was much better than the various complications of liver cancer before. With the use of top-notch imported drugs, the prognosis was promising. Zhang Jun could likely live for another 5 or 6 years without issues. If there were breakthroughs in medical advancements in the meantime, there might even be a chance for a complete recovery. Therefore, his mentor's previous research had effectively concluded with Fang Hao's surgical operation and treatment plan. Of course, his mentor could treat it as a postdoctoral research project. In summary, his mentor didn't have a research direction, and Fang Hao suddenly found himself with some free time. Utilizing the inpatient cases from his mentor's department and the outpatient cases from Director Lu Jing, he planned to write more papers. He didn't necessarily have to publish them himself, he could sell them to others. These were not traditional fabricated papers but rather papers that could withstand data scrutiny. These papers didn't need to be published in top foreign journals. They could be published in domestic journals, suitable for assessment in domestic professional title evaluations. The price could be set at 1 or 2,000 yuan, making him quite satisfied. The price wasn't high, but the advantage lay in the quick turnaround. Fang Hao could write one in just an hour or two. He logged into his secondary QQ account and found a message from an intermediary half an hour ago, suggesting a face-to-face meeting to discuss matters privately. Fang Hao frowned, he didn't like such meetings. However, he hadn't expected the intermediary to find him at the hospital. Chapter 79, Social Stratification. Dong dong. While Fang Hao was in the office of Director Lu Jing, unexpectedly, there was a knock on the door. A slim, young man with a report on his back and a hat on his head entered. The director is at the outpatient department, you can find her there. Dr. Fang, I'm looking for you. Fang Hao looked at the young man, who appeared to be a university student. You're looking for me? Dr. Fang, I'm Little Goldfish. Little Goldfish. You. Why did you come here? Are you trying to get yourself killed? Fang Hao was surprised and instinctively looked toward the door. Little Goldfish was the intermediary mentioned in the manuscript. Dr. Fang, don't panic. I mean no harm. I came to find you because I was pushed to the limit. The sponsor insisted on talking to you privately. He said he could compensate you for lost work, but he must talk to you in person. Little Goldfish explained his purpose, looking pitiful. Fang Hao, however, wasn't going to agree easily, he wouldn't leave unless Fang Hao accepted. Fang Hao frowned, feeling very dissatisfied. You've come to my workplace. If people find out I'm working with you, I'll be in trouble. I'm in the same boat. If I'm found out, I'll lose my degree, and my mom will break my legs. So, Dr. Fang, since we're both in this situation, why not work together? Are you threatening me? No, I don't mean that. Here are my ID card, student card, and my mom's ID card copy. Look, I haven't hidden anything from you. Little Goldfish took out some documents from his backpack. You're a student from the computer science department at Jiangdong University? Fang Hao checked the student information on Jiangdong University's student network and indeed found the student named Jin Xiaojian, who was Little Goldfish. The fact that Little Goldfish voluntarily revealed his identity made Fang Hao relax a bit. He asked, how did you get into this industry? I needed money. My mom is wealthy, she's the chairwoman of a large corporation. But she limits my pocket money. She only gives me 10,000 a month, which isn't enough for me. Do you gamble? Fang Hao asked, as it seemed strange that a computer student couldn't make do with 10,000 yuan a month. Did this ugly guy manage to maintain a relationship with the campus belle? Fang Hao often saw him online even in the early hours. Considering his current appearance, did he have the energy to keep a campus belle? A computer guy lacking money would either spend it on in-game purchases or gamble. Yes, I bet on soccer. Unfortunately, I'm not lucky. Dr. Fang, you're so smart, maybe you could analyze. Don't. I'm extremely busy right now. Tell me about that sponsor. Why does he want to meet me, and what's his situation? Fang Hao needed to learn to say no now. That sponsor is a senior from the same college as my mom. He entered the civil servant system and has a chance for promotion. But his leader requires him to obtain a decent degree. He registered for a part-time master's program and only lacks a graduation thesis. How much did he give you? He didn't give me money but introduced me to external betting. He made a few million from soccer gambling a few years ago. His family doesn't care about that amount of money, so they want him to become a civil servant. Your family doesn't care about you doing this business. Why don't you focus on your studies and take over your mom's business after graduation? It's difficult. I have an older sister and a younger sister. They're more business savvy than me. My sister is about to graduate from Harvard, and my younger sister is the top student in the city this year. She'll probably get into Tsinghua next year. I'm just trash. My mom won't hand the company over to someone like me, and I don't like that business. Listening to Little Goldfish's introduction, Fang Hao really wanted to send him back to remake himself. What's this talk about being a useless piece of mud? This little goldfish was indeed a lump of mud. Social stratification, the upper class, no matter how muddy they are, still live in the upper class. They can easily access and utilize upper-class resources and even squander them. On the other hand, the lower class, no matter how outstanding, must pay a huge price to climb up. Once there, they still need to live carefully, not as carefree as these muddy people. Let's talk about the time later. Fang Hao realized there was no escaping this and reluctantly agreed. Okay, I'll confirm the time with him and then meet you. Dr. Fang, I won't disturb you any longer. Once Little Goldfish saw that Fang Hao agreed, he got up to leave. However, while packing up his documents, he forgot to put away the copy of his mom's ID card. Fang Hao didn't notice it either. After work, Lu Jing entered the office, took a sip of water, and noticed some identification documents. She asked, "Why is Sujia's ID copy here? Did she come for a medical checkup?" Sujia, also known as Jiesu. Fang Hao was in a bind, wondering why Jin Shaojian was so careless. He replied, "I'm not sure. I've been here, and no one came for a medical checkup." "Oh, I'll ask her later." "Fang Hao, take some time off and have dinner with your family and my husband. I'll go to the inpatient department first, and then we can leave together." Lu Jing put the ID copy in a drawer and left. She needed to check on her husband's condition, even if it meant just talking to him for a while. Fang Hao, feeling helpless, quickly sent a message to Jin Shaojian, informing him that Lu Jing had discovered Jin's mother's ID and would seek confirmation from her. Jin Shaojian exclaimed on the other end, but quickly thought of a solution. He manipulated a fake ID card image on the computer and sent it to Fang Hao to print and replace the old one. Fang Hao breathed a sigh of relief, called his wife, and asked her to pick up their child. He had social engagements to attend. His wife agreed naturally, a response Fang Hao found somewhat unfamiliar. Normally, she would decline at first, prompting Fang Hao to persuade her. Even if she agreed, she would make him plead a bit more. But now, she agreed outright. "How have you changed? Are you really afraid I'll investigate you? Trying to appease me? Once I stop investigating, will you continue with your affair? Unfortunately, you have no idea what I know. Damn it, I still don't know who that bastard is, otherwise, I would have divorced you long ago." Fang Hao felt that his wife's sudden tenderness began when the home cameras were removed 2 or 3 days ago. His wife knew he had removed the cameras but didn't say anything. Instead, she became even more affectionate. Instead of questioning why he removed the cameras, was it because she didn't trust her? His wife was probably worried that the cameras might contain something unfavorable to her, so she didn't dare to bring it up. The camera terminal was on Fang Hao's phone, and after saving the footage, he would delete the cloud storage. So even if his wife found the cameras or even the memory card, she wouldn't know exactly what Fang Hao knew. She didn't know when the cameras were installed, so naturally, she couldn't figure out any flaws in the calculations. But from Fang Hao's rude behavior, she could be sure that Fang Hao knew something. Chapter 80, Master is leaving. At a large hotel, Master had a few drinks, but his tolerance wasn't great. After just 1 or 2 glasses, he slumped over the table. Lu Jing also had a bit to drink, her alcohol tolerance slightly better than Master's, but she soon became quite intoxicated. Fang Hao first accompanied Lu Jing home. He noticed that she also lived in a large villa. Lu Jing's family members came out to pick her up, and Fang Hao didn't get the chance to explore the villa. Next, Fang Hao escorted Master home. No one was home at Master's place, so Fang Hao had to help Master lie down and then called Master's wife. Master's wife mentioned she was in a meeting at work and would return in half an hour. Worried that something might happen to Master, Fang Hao decided to stay for half an hour. While in the living room, Fang Hao noticed some tea leaves and, by chance, saw a document that left him in shock. Quickly flipping through it, he was rendered speechless because the document was the draft of the paper he wrote. "This is bad. The benefactor is someone from Master's wife's workplace. If Master's wife finds out I wrote this, I wonder how she'll deal with me. Once she knows, Master will definitely find out too, and he'll probably kill me. Forget it, even if I die, I won't admit it. Fang Hao put the document back and made tea. An hour later, he saw Master's wife, dressed professionally, entering. The sight triggered memories of the outfit she wore when he saw her with her lover, her hand on his buttocks, leaning toward him. Master's wife took a glance at her husband, mumbled something about not being able to handle alcohol, but didn't show any signs of blaming him. She looked at Fang Hao and a warm smile appeared on her face. She thanked him and asked about Fang Hao's situation, showing genuine concern. On any other day, Fang Hao would have been moved, but now he found Master's wife repulsive, a woman cheating on her husband. After exchanging a few polite words, Fang Hao used a family call as an excuse to leave. Fang Hao drove to the building's entrance, only then realizing he didn't live in this area. He returned to the villa. In the villa, the children were already asleep. With more space to play, they got tired more easily. Fang Hao exchanged pleasantries with his mother-in-law, noticing that his father-in-law hadn't returned yet. He didn't pay much attention and went upstairs to freshen up. He said to his wife lying in bed, "I just went back to that house. When I arrived downstairs, I found out you were here." "Yeah, I know. Honey, hurry up and shower. I'm waiting for you." His wife smiled sweetly, lifted a leg, revealing a hint of sleepiness, with certain areas vaguely visible. Clearly, she was giving Fang Hao a hint. Fang Hao was stunned for a moment, a smirk appearing on his face. "How about we shower together?" "Okay, but no fooling around." His wife chuckled, got out of bed, and indeed showered together with Fang Hao. Then, naturally, the flames of passion ignited. This was an exhausting physical activity, and both of them felt like they had given their all. The next day, Fang Hao woke up to find his mother-in-law already up, moving around the yard, exercising. He approached and said, "Mom, that's right. You should move around more, sitting for too long isn't good. You talk too much. Your acupuncture and herbal tea worked. I didn't have a seizure all day yesterday. Now, give me another round of acupuncture." His mother-in-law did a bit of movement and then went back inside. "If you had listened to me a few days ago, you'd be even more agile now." Fang Hao first applied the needles and then went to prepare breakfast. After finishing breakfast, he returned to remove the needles, ensuring no delays. Putting away the last needle, he asked, "Has Dad not returned?" "He's probably having a good time. Why would he come back?" "In the morning, I have a meeting out in the suburbs, and on the way back, I plan to visit an old friend. It's a bit far, so can you pick me up?" "The suburbs? You have friends living in the suburbs?" "There's a rehabilitation center there, meant for people like us who use their brains a lot. After I retire, I plan to spend some time recuperating there." Fang Hao understood. Nowadays, many businesses use the concept of increased oxygen as a marketing strategy, but in reality, it often involves going to remote areas for development. Society is like this now. Poor young people from the countryside desperately squeeze into the cities to earn money and try to settle there. Meanwhile, wealthy urbanites flee to the outskirts, seeking a life of freedom and nature. Class stratification is already like this. After his wife sent the little one to kindergarten, Fang Hao dropped his mother-in-law off at the university and then went to the hospital. After clocking in, Fang Hao received a call from Master and went to see him. "Master, feeling better now?" Fang Hao asked, noticing that Master, still recovering from last night's drinking, didn't look great. "I'm fine. Fang Hao, there's something I want to tell you. The matter with Lao Zhang is temporarily settled, and I currently don't plan to continue researching in that direction. I've communicated with Peking Union Medical College, and I'll be going there for postdoctoral research." Master invited Fang Hao to sit down, displaying an unusual calmness as they discussed matters not related to medical cases. "Master, have you decided already? Why didn't you mention it last night?" "I had a bit too much to drink last night. I initially wanted to tell you. It's not too late now." "Are you giving up your job here?" Fang Hao knew that doing a postdoc wouldn't allow him to work simultaneously at two places. From Master's tone, it seemed like postdoctoral research would become his main focus. "Yeah, I'm leaving here. They'll keep my position and salary, but I won't need to come to work. How about you? Will you come to Peking Union Medical College with me?" "Well, Master, going there might not be better for me. Besides, I have 2 kids. I've considered this for you. I'll keep an assistant position open for you over there. Whenever you want to come over, you can." We'll stay in touch through email. Alright, master. If there's anything you need me to do, just let me know. I'll do my best. Fang Hao didn't want to leave the support of master, but if master decided to do a postdoc, Fang Hao couldn't stop him. He could somewhat understand master's decision. Master probably liked Lu Jing, and when Lu Jing's husband, Zhang Jun, was seriously ill, master saw an opportunity. Even though master was researching treatment plans for Zhang Jun, there was still little hope for a complete recovery. However, now that Zhang Jun was in rehabilitation, Lu Jing would definitely not leave him, and master lost his chance. Master felt disappointed and chose to leave. Perhaps it was the best way. After master left, there was no longer an office here, and Fang Hao couldn't stay. He packed up his things, including his computer and books, and moved them to the car. As he watched master leave, when Fang Hao turned around, he saw Lu Jing still standing there. After some thought, he went over and said, "Director, master has left." Lu Jing smiled slightly and said, "He's still the same as he was back then." Back then? Did master give up love for the sake of his career? What love? You. Nonsense. Lu Jing's face blushed slightly. She said, "It's his pride. Back then, he lost to me in suturing during a surgery and left Jiangdong University. Now, he's lost to you." "Me?" "Yes, you. He's your master, but your skills have surpassed his. He can't face it and has gone for further studies. But don't worry, he won't be jealous of you. He'll only work harder in his research." This. Fang Hao was speechless. Am I really that outstanding? Just as he was about to say something, he suddenly received a call from Sun Sunny. Why is this troublemaker calling me?